Hey everyone, welcome back to Million Dollar Media. Welcome back to specifically our Director Spotlight series where we're talking about all of Christopher Nolan's filmography. And we are on his third movie, actually fourth, because this is the first movie in our series of videos where we're skipping a Batman one because the Batman Begins came out in 2005 and this was 2 years after that. So that means we're talking about The Prestige. And with me today,
Woohoo! Hi, I'm Emily. Sorry, I forgot I wasn't allowed to talk yet.
I was going to
I'll
say,
go back into the special guest basement.
introduce yourself.
Hi, it's me, Emily, and I'm really excited to be here today.
Good. Oh man.
It's the Christopher Nolan movie for nerds, Max.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the director philosophy of one for you, one for me type
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
No, Nolan added one for nerds into that rotation and has been doing it since.
Oh
So
yeah.
The Prestige was one for nerds. Oppenheimer was one for nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Dunkirk was one for nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like those were all his movies for the people who are into some niche hobbyist shit. Because that is an aspect of his identity, is that Christopher Nolan also directs movies for people who like to play with battlefield miniatures. And more power to him. And I do think spiritually this is one of those movies.
I could see. Should we say what it's about first?
Sure. Do you want me to give the plot summary, or would you like to?
I could give a quick one. Basically, this movie is
Yeah.
about two performance magicians who have a rivalry that was all set off by one of them, played by Christian Bale, who kills or is assumed to have killed Hugh Jackman's wife on stage in a performance gone wrong because of a drowning accident. And so the film is about these two magicians constantly trying to figure out each other's secrets and how their tricks work, and this ever escalating war of magicians. And I just gotta say, I love a movie about performance magicians can be this intense and be the most intense rivalry I've seen on screen in a long time. Because I really like this movie.
Oh yeah. The Prestige is great. Debatably one of Nolan's better movies, I would say. I think it's in
It's
the
up
upper
there.
tier.
Oh, it's definitely up there for me.
Um, I hate to say it, but Nolan is literally so good at directing movies that even some of his more throwaway films
Mhm.
are peak. And this kind of feels like
I
this
agree.
didn't feel like as monumental a release as some of the other works in his catalog, but it's still an absolute fucking banger.
Oh my. I think it's because it's about performance magicians and the idea of stage magicians having this intense of a rivalry is kind of funny on some level. Like how serious this rivalry gets to the point where they're showing
Yeah,
up with guns and shooting their fingers off.
true. But what I like about that is that it's very novel, right? Like you're
Yes.
taking something that seems like it wouldn't be interesting and making something really cool out of it.
Oh yeah.
Um, and the way that it ties in historical fiction elements with the Nikola Tesla stuff is really
Oh my
cool.
god, yes.
The way that it does this strange, almost steampunk but not quite Victorian aesthetic
Hmm.
is so interesting. The performances are great. The twists are fantastic. I think this movie's plot is among the best in Nolan's catalog, just
I
in terms of how it unravels.
hmm And
It's brilliant.
I just gotta say, you brought up Nikola Tesla being in this movie, and I really want to make this a quick statement. This might be my favorite entrance to a character I've ever seen on a film. It's Nikola Tesla, played by David Bowie, with lightning shooting everywhere and him walking calm through it like a badass. It is perhaps my favorite little thing that's been in a movie in a long time. Just the amount of aura that is surrounding that scene is hilarious to me. But it's that's kind of badass. Just Nikola Tesla, played by David Bowie, walking through lightning. Peak.
I think I wonder how Tesla would feel about being remembered this way. I hope he'd be happy. I'm not sure he would be, but I hope he would.
I think he'll be more happy by this being recognized with the name Tesla than what's actually being recognized as Tesla nowadays.
Either way, The Prestige is a movie about magic. And there have been a couple of those that we've seen. Now You See Me is a series of movies that has a lot of very high profile magic. Magic Michael, better known as Magic Mike, has put on many a performance for us in the cinematic universe
Uh,
across his three entries.
that's a different kind
Um,
of magic, but okay.
yeah, I mean, I watched them and it was magical. Um,
Fair.
No, those are pretty much the only magician movies. So it was cool to see the Prestige play up magicianry in the way that it did because it does feel very different from the way that like stage magic gets normally treated. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. Like, it's funny. Up until recently, I have had like a kind of dismissive take on magicians and stuff like that. They're like, I always saw them as like people who are very like, notice me, notice me, notice me. Like, they're the most annoying people at a party. However, I went to a bar during the 4th of July and I met a magician. Really cool guy. I just gotta say, really impressed by his tricks. I'll have his Instagram on screen right now if you want to follow him. But yeah, I now have an interest in, or not an interest in magic, but I have more of a respect for magicians. But to your point, I think what this film, and I think what a lot of Nolan films do, is it creates this world, like you said, the steampunk world. But what I really like is that this world of magicians is so cutthroat and like backstabby and spy like. It's so fascinating how they set up like how all of these magicians have secrets and tricks that can go for thousands of dollars because people are just wanting to know how they're performed, and the commitment these magicians have to go into is insane. And just the performances and how they really take this shit seriously is just, it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, it's great. It's super stylish. In terms of directing, this is also to me one of Nolan's best.
I agree.
Like I think he really brought his A game to this shit. His whole backbone was in this one, and it rules.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta bring up the Nolan Women Index, though. I hate to.
I'm glad you did.
This play is under review, Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
All of the women in the Prestige are either children in need of protection or corpses.
Yep. Or assistants.
Or like assistants. Yeah. Like secretaries, basically.
Yeah.
If I'm being generous, a 4. It might be a 3.
Yeah.
Out of 10 on the Nolan handling of women index.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I don't think this is the best. Even to a point where Hugh Jackman's character does say, I don't care about my wife who is dead at this point. I just want to know how he did the fucking trick. And that pretty much just sealed it. Like, it's just like, okay, they're just here to help represent what's going on with the male character's point of view right now. And I think...
My God, this refrigerator is full of women.
I think all of them are played really well in the movie. Like, I think Rebecca Hall's really good. I think Scarlett Johansson is really good in this movie. Piper Baraboo, for the little bit that she's in, makes you endeared to that character. But yeah, they're just kind of... Especially Scarlett Johansson's character is not really all that important in this story. Like, she kind of sets up one element, but she's basically being used by these two characters as the love interest. And, like, who gets her now?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else you want to say when it comes to this issue.
Not necessarily. I got to throw like at least a 20 to 25 yard penalty on Nolan for this one. This is diabolical. And I really hope that in future movies, he definitely doesn't continue to treat women like this. No, sir. Let me tell you, we will never see this problem again. That's my Emily opinion.
Being all serious, before we do cover any of those future movies, do you think this is the worst? Or at least like the worst handling of women?
Do I think that this movie has the worst handling of women in Nolan's career?
I think
Interstellar is pretty questionable.
Yeah. But at least in that movie, everything that Anne Hathaway is saying is right. It's just that no one else respects her, which can't be said. And like all the women solve the big problems or the big issues with help, but still, like they solve the issues. Like,
I'm also thinking about Inception.
Ooh, I'd have to fight you on that one, but okay.
I can't think of any female characters in Inception who aren't plot MacGuffins, or Elliot Page, who I feel like gets forgotten about after his 5 minutes of screen time.
I think I'm still going to say this is probably the worst handling. Because in Inception...
This is probably the worst. I'm like comparing them.
Yeah.
Because I think to me, those stand out as the ones that are like egregious.
But at least...
But I do think this is probably the worst of them.
I mean, if this is like the third film in the series that we're covering, at least we're getting it out of the way real quick. And I think it gets slightly better over time. But definitely he's focused more on the men in this movie. And I do have to say, Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale are great. Like, they're very fun and entertaining to watch throughout this movie, and how they play these characters and their obsession with trying to figure out the other one's tricks and how they do things. Especially Hugh Jackman's character, who is quote unquote the lesser magician. Like, he's ironically a better performer, the greatest showman, if you will. Whereas Christian Bale, Borden, is a better magician, but he has no stage presence. He's just good at doing the tricks. And so it's fun to see, like, Angier constantly be like, oh, I want to know how he fucking does this stuff, because it's like, how is he able to do this transporting man trick in an instant? There's no fucking way he's able to do that. And it just causes him to go down this spiral. And I really want to talk about, like, the spoiler shit in this movie. So is there anything you have to say about these two actors before we get into that?
No, I think we should probably broach that territory.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got to do it.
Yeah, okay. So I'll start with the thing that basically turns this from, like, historical fiction into sci-fi. The reason why Nikola Tesla is in this movie is because Borden tells Angier in one of his notes that the keyword is Tesla, and to go searching out for that man to basically prove to him how his tricks work. And Nikola Tesla basically invents a cloning machine using lightning. And that's either going to make or break it for you. I'm going to be real. Because that's a very ridiculous premise. And
I don't know. As soon as the movie turned the bullshit corner, I was so, like, on that wavelength. I was like, let's do it. If we're doing this, let's go.
Oh, it definitely worked for me. I think it's a little unfair. I knew most of the twists going into this, just because of osmosis of culture. So this one I wasn't too, like, okay, like, I knew that there was a cloning machine in it. But I think for someone who is, like, expecting, like, a period drama, all of a sudden now we're in this weird steampunk sci-fi thing, it is a bit of a shock. Pun not intended.
Yeah. Honestly, to that end, the way that I watched The Prestige was totally blind. It was on my mom's suggestion.
Oh,
She
okay.
refused to tell me what it was about, and it encouraged me to not look up anything about it and to just watch it with zero context of what it was or what it was going to be about.
Mhm.
And that was genuinely perfect because I knew nothing about it. I'd never heard of it.
See,
And I got a totally blind experience, and I do highly recommend that because that was pretty awesome.
yeah. I mean, the machine, the way they handle it is still grounded in this world and how it's used. I think it's just funny that it's being used on stage magic. Like, that's just kind of a funny thing to me. Like,
Yeah.
this real life magic is used for fucking performance, which can be said about, like, filmmaking and, like, the leaps and bounds of technology that's been used. Like, how even AI now has kind of started in, like, the film space, as used for, like, in stuff like The Mandalorian, and now has become this huge issue that we've had to face as a culture. It's funny, like, how in this movie, it's way before any of the AI stuff, but still, like, the idea of, like, this technology that no one should have being used as smoke and mirrors is really funny.
Yeah.
Really goes to show where Angier is at this point in his life, because of Borden just being a better magician, straight up. But I think it's also really funny because of what the final twist in this movie is. The big twist in this movie, and the thing that we find out why Borden is the way that Borden is because he's technically two people. He is
Right. He's
twins.
twins.
He's
Yeah,
twins.
yeah.
But yeah, through this entire movie, these guys have been switching who is playing Borden and who is playing his lawyer kind of person, who is constantly throughout this movie is this big pudgy British looking guy who is just always next to Borden in these scenes. And so we find out, like, okay, these two men have been living one life, and the reason why they're able to do the transporting man trick is because they keep switching who is the one performing and then who is the one doing the magic trick. So it's this really fun dance they have to play throughout their lives. And it ultimately ruined their lives because one would fall in love with Rebecca Hall's character and the other one would fall in love with Scarlett Johansson's character. But since they are acting as the same person, it's basically making him look like he's having an affair. And one of the Bordens gets thrown in prison and put on the gallows to be hung, whereas the other one at the end of the movie just gets to roam free. 2 questions for you when it comes to this twist. What did you think of this twist?
I thought it was fantastic, honestly. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was crazy, but the whole movie was crazy, so I was like with it.
Mm-hmm.
By this point in the movie, I was so down with whatever bullshit it was pulling out that I was really entertained by this twist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought it was cool. I thought it was well executed. I was a big fan.
Mm-hmm. It was also fun going into the movie knowing the twist because every line of dialogue that he says, like there's a moment where he's confessing to Scarlett Johansson's character, like, I'm going to be real with you. I never loved my wife. Like some days I would, some days I wouldn't. Basically to find out that particular version of Borden was telling the truth. He didn't care for Rebecca Hall. He only cared for Scarlett Johansson. That's a fun little thing. There's a moment where Rebecca Hall says, like, some days I believe that you love me, some days I don't. That's another little element. Like, there's the dialogue and the writing is so well done that it's not obvious on a first watch, but on a second watch, or like if you know the twist going in, it's so fascinating to see how well they handle it and basically like lay it out there throughout this movie. It's so good.
Yeah. No,
um,
The Prestige is fantastic.
One more thing I want to ask you. When it comes to Borden's character, do you think he's actually a biological twin, or do you think he's a Tesla clone situation?
I don't know that it matters.
Okay.
I think whether he is or isn't is kind of impertinent to the story of the movie.
Okay.
I think it's more interesting if he's twins because I think that establishes a really interesting dynamic between him and the other magician. Because whereas we know the other magician used dozens of clones,
Mm-hmm.
Borden was born biologically a twin.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of points to the idea of Borden was even literally born better because he was able to do something through nature that the other magician whose name I'm forgetting could only do through technology.
Angier. Yeah.
Angier. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool.
Okay. Yeah. That's basically what I wanted to ask you about the two questions I wanted to ask you about those characters, because that character specifically, because it was like a really well done twist in this movie.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to bring up about The Prestige before we wrap this up?
No. In the grand scheme of clone movies, it's a pretty good one. I wouldn't put it as the best, but I would maybe put it as the second best.
Okay.
I still think Moon is better.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, The Prestige is great. It's another gem in Nolan's catalog. It just feels like a hat on a hat. Like it's unfair that he made all of these other great movies and also made this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's just like come on, man.
Yeah. It was fun watching this because I was like, oh man, nothing will beat Memento for me. But then I watched this, I'm like, oh shit, this is really good. Like maybe one day, on some days, it's like the two different Bordens. One day I really like Memento over The Prestige. The other day I really like The Prestige over Memento. And then there's other days where I like Inception better. But we'll get to that in the next video.
Yeah, well, I don't have too much more to say about this particular film, do you?
I guess if we want to bring up our audio ranking, I'd say this is a 9. You can hear everything pretty much okay. I think this does, however, start to have the Nolan sound effects and music overtaking everything. Like sometimes I think it's Hans Zimmer who did the score for this, because it definitely sounds like a Hans Zimmer score. And it was also after Batman, so I'd assume. But you can definitely hear it over the dialogue sometimes, and you're just like, wait, what? Otherwise, you can hear it pretty well. So yeah, I'd give it a 9 on the audio scale. Yeah. And also no Pacino, so nothing there.
Yeah, true. Pacino quality not applicable.
Yep.
I would give this movie like an 8 on the audio because I think it starts the trend towards mumblecore in Christopher Nolan movies. That trend really peaked with like Dunkirk was, I think, the worst example of it. But I think it like started a little bit here, so I have to knock it down to an 8 for that. I'm so sorry. So sorry to The Prestige. I love The Prestige. But objectively, this was the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree it's the beginning. I think I could hear it better, but maybe, you know what, I think I'll agree with an 8, because there were some times I was playing with the remote, having to turn down the music, but then again, that could be a setting issue on my TV, but still, it was pretty loud. But yeah, this has been The Prestige. Well, next time on our director spotlight of Christopher Nolan movies, we are going to be covering Inception. And unfortunately, this is where we have to say goodbye to Emily in our series of videos, because next time we're going to have a different host. Or a co-host, I should say.
Peace out, guys.
I can't wait for you guys to see who pops up next in our videos. Please like, subscribe, and share. Keep watching movies, keep watching Christopher Nolan movies, and keep watching our videos. Have a good day. Bye.
Was out.